The opening scene features 3 Detroit delinquents, Rocky, Alex, and Money, who make a living by breaking into houses and stealing valuables. Currently, they are breaking into the house of a wealthy owner. As soon as they unlock the door, they disable the security system and start grabbing the expensive items from the house. When they are done, they reactivate the alarm and break the front door window, which activates the alarm sound as they escape. Later, while driving away in their car, Rocky and Money share their plan to leave the city and move to California after one final heist. Rocky asks Alex to accompany them, but the latter says that he can't leave his father. Shortly after, they drop Alex at his house. He heads straight to his father's study room, where he opens a drawer and returns the key from the house they just robbed. Here, we learn that his father works for the home security, due to which he has the spare keys of all the houses in the town. On the other hand, Rocky lives with her little sister Diddy, their abusive mother Ginger, and her mother's alcoholic boyfriend Trevor. She seems to be so fed up by the terrible family situation that she longs to start a new life in California with her sister. In the next scene, Money goes to sell the stolen goods, but does not receive the expected value for them. Seeing his frustration, the dealer suggests that they steal cash instead of goods. He also gives Money a tip about a Gulf War veteran, Norman Nordstrom, who lives alone in an abandoned Detroit neighborhood. The dealer claims that he has more than $300,000 in cash stashed somewhere in his house. It was reportedly a settlement after a wealthy woman killed Norman's daughter in a car accident. The following day, Money meets with his friends and confides everything in them. Rocky is on board since this could be the last robbery they ever have to pull off, but Alex doesn't agree with the plan. He is worried about the consequences of grabbing such a large amount. To both of them and his father's company. Later that day, Rocky texts Alex, begging him to do the job for her because she needs to get her sister out of the town. This finally convinces him, as he appears to have a crush on her. Later, in the evening, the 3 friends drive towards the abandoned neighborhood and spy on Norman's house. During this, they learn that the guy they're going to rob is blind. Alex thinks that it's unethical to rob such a person, but Money argues that it doesn't mean he's a saint because he's blind. Amidst their discussion, they're startled by Norman's Rottweiler dog that jumps on their car door, prompting them to drive away. At midnight, the gang comes back to the vet's house in order to carry out the robbery. First of all, they drug the dog and put it to sleep before proceeding to unlock the door. But much to their dismay, the door has 4 locks, while Alex has only 1 key. As a result, they resort to looking for another way to break in. They soon find a small bathroom window, and Rocky, being the smallest among them, decides to enter through it. As soon as she gets in, she manages to stop the alarm with a master remote. She then unlocks the front door, letting her friends inside. After this, the trio takes off their shoes and begins their quest for the safe containing the cash. Money goes to a room upstairs where he finds the blind man sleeping with the TV on. He secretly puts a sleeping gas bottle inside the room so that Norman doesn't wake up. After wandering around for a while, the gang finds a locked door that leads to the basement. Thinking that the loot must be hidden in there, Money takes out his tools and tries to break the door's lock. After multiple failed attempts, he takes out a gun, leaving the other 2 gang members in shock. The frightened Alex emphasizes how having a gun in a robbery will change the situation. However, Money disregards his concern and blasts off the door lock. Seeing this, Alex fears the potential consequences and decides to leave. He then puts on his shoes and walks out. As Money and Rocky open the door, the blind man shows up, asking who's there. In an attempt to handle the situation, Money speaks up and tries to assure that he'll walk away, claiming that he doesn't want any trouble. But when Norman starts following his voice, he pulls out his gun on the man, threatening to shoot him. He even opens fire to scare Norman, but the latter continues to step forward. Alex hears the gunshot from outside and returns to inspect the matter. The vet suddenly grabs the gun from Money's hands and pins him against the wall. He asks how many of them there are, to which Money lies that he's the only one and pleads to be let go. Norman loosens his grip but shoots him in the neck, resulting in his death. Rocky is horrified to witness this sight, but she tries her best not to utter any sound. She slowly walks backward and hides in a closet. In the next scene, Alex walks into the house cautiously, narrowly avoiding a collision with the blind man. Norman then secures all the doors and bolts the windows. In the meantime, Alex hides in the bathroom and texts Rocky, asking about her whereabouts. How much you want to bet these guys don't have their phones on silent? Before he can reach her, Norman enters the closet and unlocks a hidden safe to check his valuables. Upon assuring that it's safe, he locks it back up, during which Rocky sees the access passcode. Moments after he leaves, Alex finds Rocky and suggests that they leave right away. She agrees. But before that, she opens the safe and steals all the money. Following this, the duo decides to leave through the basement way that will lead them to the cellar door in the yard. As they're about to enter, the vet walks out from the same door, startling the two friends for a moment. They stand quietly until the blind man starts disposing of Money's body. Alex and Rocky then make their way to the basement and use their phone's flashlights to search their way out. Not long after, Norman discovers the extra pair of shoes, which makes him realize that there are more intruders. He hurriedly rushes back to check the safe, only to find it empty. In the basement, the two friends are startled by a woman who has been gagged and chained to the wall. Her movement appears to be connected to a ball which rings, alerting Norman. Frightened, Alex and Rocky decide to leave, but the woman suddenly holds up a newspaper article, revealing herself to be Cindy Roberts. She is the same person who accidentally killed Norman's daughter. Although this shocks the duo, they decide to rescue her, no matter what she has done. Cindy then points towards a safe box, from which they can retrieve a bunch of keys. As soon as they free her from her restraints, they carry her towards the cellar door. They hurriedly open the door, only to find the blind man waiting for them with a gun. He immediately opens fire, forcing them to retreat. Unfortunately, one of the bullets strikes Cindy, killing her on the spot. After this, Rocky and Alex run to hide, while Norman breaks down and cries over Cindy's body, saying his baby is dead. Now that he has nothing to lose, Norman vows to hunt down the intruders, seeking revenge. He turns off the lights and starts chasing the two best friends in the huge, dark basement. At one point, the vet apprehends Alex and tries to shoot him, but the gun runs out of ammo. Alex then pushes a shelf down on him and flees upstairs with Rocky. Once they make their way out of the basement, Alex holds the door closed with a crowbar, but before they can head to the front door, they encounter the Rottweiler, who is now awake and ready to attack. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, they escape to the second floor and lock themselves inside one of the rooms. They check the window, only to find it barred, and it seems that there is no way out. In the meantime, the blind man walks out of the basement, retrieves his gun from the bedroom, and heads towards the room where the intruders are hiding. As Norman tries to break through the door, Alex and Rocky find a ventilation duct in the wall. Alex tells her to escape through it, while he decides to stay behind to secure the door. As soon as she enters the duct, the blind man and his dog break in. They attack Alex, causing him to fall out the window onto a skylight, rendering him unconscious. The dog then follows Rocky's smell into the vent. Sensing the imminent danger, she jumps into a vertical shaft to escape it. Simultaneously, Norman realizes where Alex is and shoots out the skylight, hurling him down to the first floor. The blind man then corners him in the utility room, where he keeps his gardening tools. He subjects Alex to a brutal beating until he loses his consciousness, and then stabs him with a pair of garden shears. Get pruned. On the other hand, Rocky continues crawling through the vent and soon comes across two openings, one leading to a room and the other outside. She attempts to go through the ladder, but Norman suddenly grabs her and knocks her out. Afterwards, Rocky wakes up to find herself chained in the basement, just like Cindy. She begs him to let her go, promising that she won't disclose anything about the kidnapping. However, Norman says that holding Cindy wasn't about torture or punishment for what she had done to his daughter. He believed that it would only be fair if she gave him another child to make up for the one she killed. It turns out that he had been holding Cindy there because she was pregnant with his baby. But now, with her death, his unborn child has died as well, and he holds Rocky accountable for the same. As a result, he tells her that she now has to bear his child on behalf of Cindy. In the meantime, Alex wakes up, revealing that the blind man had stabbed Money's body earlier. He tricks the dog and locks it inside a room. Following this, he unlocks all 4 locks on the front door before proceeding to save Rocky. Back in the basement, Norman cuts open a hole in Rocky's pants and grabs a baster filled with his semen sample. intending to impregnate her. Just before he can do so, Alex bursts into the basement and whacks the blind man over the head. "No Thanksgiving for you." He then chains him up and releases Rocky, who then vents her rage by beating him up. After this, they decide to leave him to rot in the basement, opting not to involve the police as it could go against their favor. Alex and Rocky then grab the money bag and head towards the front door, but the moment he opens the door, he is shot from behind by the blind man, who has managed to break free from his restraints. Rocky runs towards their car, and the dog chases after her. She somehow manages to get in, but drops the money bag in the process. Rocky also realizes that she doesn't have the car key. Thinking of an alternative, she traps the dog inside the car trunk and gets off the vehicle. Nevertheless, the threat isn't neutralized yet, because the blind man captures her again and drags her back to his house. When they get there, Rocky finds the master remote, which she uses to activate the security alarm. The sound disorients the vet, and Rocky uses this opportunity to push him down to the basement. Believing that he's dead, she retrieves the money and flees the place moments before the cops arrive. In the final scene, we see Rocky and her little sister sitting in a restaurant at Detroit Airport. While eating, Rocky sees a news report about the incident, stating that the blind man has survived and is recovering in the hospital. Norman is reported to have killed 2 intruders in self-defense, but he doesn't mention Rocky, Cindy, or the stolen cash. The movie ends as Rocky and Diddy head to California in order to start their new lives.